Welcome to Fearopoly Street, the podcast where elder millennials have a fun and socially aware discussion about the 90s cult classic horror series, Fear Street. If you've never read the book or it's been a while, we provide a detailed chapter breakdown complete with sarcasm and humor. In this episode, hosts Michelle Hanson and Olivia James discuss book number 2, The Surprise Party, which was released August 1989.
Playing for keeps. It's been a year since Evan died in the Fear Street woods. A year since Ellen moved away and the gang split up. Meg Dalton felt as if she'd lost her best friends. Everyone changed. Even her boyfriend Tony was acting moody, strange. But when she heard that Ellen was returning for a visit, Meg had the answer. She'd bring them all together again with a surprise party for Ellen. That's when the terror began. The phone calls, the threats, the bizarre acts of violence. Cancel the party or else, the whispered voice on the phone told her. Meg was scared, with good reason. Whoever wanted the party stopped would try anything, even murder. But why? The dark Fear Street woods held the answers. If Meg dared to discover the truth.
You did a great job. Are you a voice actor by chance?
Actually, I'm not. I just run the voice acting troupe.
You just hire them.
Yes, I'm rarely on stage myself.
So this came out in August 1989. I was 10 years old. I had just turned 10 in July. And were you still 6?
Yes, I was almost 6.5, but not quite.
Almost 6.5. Oh, so you have matured since the first
A few months. A few months.
So with this book, just like the first one, we start with a prologue. And in the prologue, it's in third person, and it seems like someone named Evan is dead. The killer is presumably in Fear Street Woods and has a rifle. The killer is very obsessed with her, keeps talking about her. And the killer stands over Evan's body and wonders if they will get away with it, and they're quite confident that they will.
And they will for a while, anyway.
Something that I noticed in this novel, as opposed to The New Girl, is for each chapter, it tells us what day we're on, like a Saturday. Saturday afternoon, something like that. And I noticed in New Girl, in the chapters, it would just jump to a certain point in time.
I hadn't noticed that. That's an interesting observation. Do you think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia stole that gimmick when they start every episode with like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Possibly. I've never seen that show, so I'll take your word for it.
Every episode starts with a date and time.
Okay.
And then other scenes that happen at other times, they never update it throughout the episode. It's just the beginning of the episode. They have a time. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, chapter 1, it's May, and Meg Dalton is riding her bike through Shadyside Park with her best friend Shannon and her boyfriend Tony. Shannon's described to look like Molly Ringwald, which seems an incredibly appropriate parallel to make for this time.
Right.
Or were you into those movies at that point?
No, I was too young.
Too young. Yeah, me too, obviously. We learn that Tony's moody and easily angered, every girl's dream. They have been going out for 2 years, but it's been a whole year since the Evan thing, so a full half of their relationship has been this moody, awful Tony.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's still with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently when they first got together, he must have honeymooned her very, very well.
He must have been awesome.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
know.
awesome.
Meg asks Shannon how Dwayne is doing, and Shannon calls him weirdo, but he plays Dungeons and Dragons in the woods with Meg's cousin Brian, and Meg agrees that Brian is weird. You know, I'm a little offended at shaming the Dungeons and Dragons people right off the bat.
Well, they call it Wizards and Dungeons.
Yeah,
right?
by the
copyright,
same thing.
It's the same.
I mean, I never played it as a kid. I've only played it like once as an adult, but I want to defend those people. Those people.
Well, even in 89, like Dungeons and Dragons, that wasn't cool. Like Star Wars wasn't cool.
That's true.
So it was kind of taboo, and you did get made fun of for doing stuff like that.
Thankfully, Star Trek was always cool.
Sure.
No, it sure wasn't. So we get the backstory that over a year ago, Brian found Shannon's brother Evan dead in the Fear Street woods, shot to death. Obviously, this time we didn't forget the prologue right away because they immediately reference it in chapter 1, which I appreciated. Because Also at Shadyside Park, Meg talks to Corey Brooks and Lisa Bloom, which from The New Girl, which I mentioned to you at that part didn't make it in that we had read. I'd read book 2 and you'd read book 3, and
I got them mixed.
And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna find out what happens." And Michelle is like, "No, we're not." And I was like, "Yeah, we are." So this is them. They've been dating since the previous winter. but their relationship has really not changed other than they bicker even more.
Right.
Were you surprised?
I kind of wanted them to like have a healthy relationship, and it's very clear that they do not at all.
I mean, I kind of blame them both. I mostly blame Corey because he was awful to her, and it doesn't seem like he's changed that much.
No.
But I also blame her because she puts up with it and seems fine with it to a certain extent. Like,
and I wonder, is he still hung up on Anna? Is he like writing her in the psych ward or wherever she is?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh, probably like kind of half cheating on Lisa via post letters.
That's not mentioned in this. Maybe book 3 or 4 we'll get around to that.
I mean,
book 6 is called the Psych Ward, isn't it? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So Lisa tells Meg that Ellen Majors is coming to visit her Aunt Amy. Ellen was dating Evan before he was murdered, and she was best friends with Meg and Shannon. So all this connection.
Yeah, a lot of connections.
After Evan's murder, Ellen moved away, and no one has heard from her until now. Meg suggests they have a welcome back surprise party for Ellen to show that no one blames her for Evan's death. Because you can't just say, we don't blame you.
Right.
We're going to have a big party.
Right. Like right now we don't really know much about the murder. We just know that he was found dead in the woods. And all of a sudden, like, oh, we're pointing the finger at Ellen.
Right. And also, they're going to invite all these people to this party. So the way to, I mean, maybe Meg personally doesn't think that she did it, but how does she know everybody else? That's a big presumption.
It is.
Right?
It is.
But nobody in town blames you.
I'm sure someone in Shady Side High blames
I bet a lot of people do. Or else why would it even come up?
Right.
I feel like it's a performative party for sure. So Shannon and Lisa aren't really on board with it. Or should they be?
No.
But they eventually agree. And Corey asks Tony how he feels about it. And Tony isn't really cool with it either. But I guess Meg's a bully and just makes everyone do what she wants to do.
It sounds like it.
She's delightful. So the 3 friends ride off, but Tony has a flat tire and goes into rage mode, where he throws his bike down, kicks his bike and curses and tells the girls to go on without him. Again, I can't. I am so jealous that she's with him. Like, that seems like the perfect guy. I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
That night, Meg is thinking about Ellen and compares her to Daryl Hannah. Was that a reference that you got much? I mean, I really only know, I know there was that movie Splash. I never saw it.
Yeah, that's the only Daryl Hannah movie I know of.
The only Daryl Hannah movie I knew of when I was younger, not this young, was Steel Magnolias, which I loved. So when she's saying Daryl Hannah, my mind immediately goes to Steel Magnolias, and I'm like,
it's her.
That's not the character she plays, especially early in the movie, is not somebody you'd hold up as like super attractive.
No.
But, so it's a little bit. I also enjoyed her in Kill Bill.
Okay. I saw like little snippets of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best movie, but she was pretty badass in it. So
okay.
The caller's telling her. Oh, so she gets the phone call, and the caller's telling her not to have the party. That was a pretty lengthy first chapter.
It was a lengthy first chapter,
or very dense.
So we started. This chapter was on Saturday afternoon, and then the second chapter jumps to Saturday night.
Same Saturday? It's not clear.
Same Saturday, so I believe so. And I'm going to take issue with this chapter, and I think you might know why when we get to it.
Okay.
So Meg thinks that the caller has seen one too many horror movies and compares the call to something in Freddy Returns, which isn't a real movie, Halloween 5, which hadn't come out by 1989, and Friday the 13th, Part 400. I'm going to stop you right there.
That one's still not out?
That one's still not out.
Early up to 390?
Yeah. How many are we up to? 8, 9, 10, 11. We are up to 12, I believe. So if they come out with one more Friday the 13th, if they come out with one more Friday the 13th movies, we will have 13 Friday the 13th movies.
That one's got to be a big one.
Yes, and I think Freddy Returns is obviously probably talking about the sequel, which had come out by 1989, and that was actually called Freddy's Revenge. So get it together, RL.
Or maybe this was the same, just like Dungeons and Dragons, he's going to change things to avoid copyright or stepping on. You know, I would imagine since all of them are wrong, that it was purposeful, whereas if it was just one.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as you said you're going to have a problem, and I looked down at the page and saw those titles, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I see where this is going.
So Meg thinks that girls in horror movies are either tramps or frightened idiots, and that's just not who Meg wants to be.
Is she right?
No.
Okay.
No, she's
I haven't seen that many.
It's the whole well, because especially in the 80s, you get the whole final girl trope and those characters. So I completely disagree with Meg and what she thinks.
She obviously doesn't watch the movies herself.
No, she doesn't. Meg calls Tony, but the line is busy, so she calls Lisa, who is waiting for Corey to come over. Corey was supposed to be there an hour ago, and Lisa jokes that maybe he was hit by a Mack truck. Clearly a very healthy relationship. Meg tells Lisa about the call, and Lisa tells Meg that she received a heavy breathing phone call last winter, but she doesn't really go into detail. Us, as the readers, know it was, what was his name? Anna's brother.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember.
I don't remember his name either. It was him. And so Lisa tells Meg that she told a lot of kids about the party, and then Lisa's doorbell rings. It's probably Corey, so Lisa gets off the phone. Meg calls Tony again, and he tells her he got a creepy phone call too, so that makes sense why his phone line was busy. The caller warned him not to help with the party or he'll end up in the hospital. So pretty serious threat there. Meg decides, co-pays be damned, she is going to have the party because Ellen is her best friend.
Sure.
So she doesn't care if Tony has to go into the hospital.
Well, I mean, maybe that would actually be good for her because she's stuck in this relationship she seemed to break off despite how awful he is. So maybe she's kind of hoping he ends up in the hospital and then she doesn't have to dump him explicitly.
So Tony invites himself over, even though Meg should be writing her psych paper.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear a lot about this psych paper.
I mean, maybe if she wrote it, then she'd know to leave Tony and that this isn't working out. Like,
it's true. I want to know what her psych paper is about. Is it about abusive relationships?
I think it's about the TV show Psych.
Okay. No.
That
was not out. So not out. We're like 21 years away.
I know. I'm aware. So chapter 3, we're now Monday afternoon. We skipped Sunday entirely.
Okay.
I guess Sunday was just a boring day.
Boring day of writing a psych paper.
Well, I think we know she didn't write it on Sunday. You have to rest on the Sabbath. So even the killers rest on the Sabbath and don't make threatening phone calls. So gymnastics buddies, Corey and David, are goofing around in government class. I don't know that I love that. I kind of was glad we got to check in on Corey and Lisa. I did not need to check in on Corey and his buddy David.
No.
Right? Like, no. Yeah. So Meg shows Shannon the invitations. Come to a surprise party. And the party's going to be some, Chuck E. Cheese, someplace nice, someplace bright. No, of course not. It's going to be at the Halsey Manor House in the middle of Fear Street Woods.
Okay, let's take a step back. So we assume that Ellen's boyfriend, Evan, was murdered in Fear Street Woods. And so Meg thinks that it's a good idea to host a surprise party in Ellen's honor in Fear Street Woods.
Yeah.
Total disregard for PTSD.
Just to show her that they don't think she's guilty.
It was in this spot right here where your boyfriend was dead. And we know you didn't do it.
Yeah, because the killer never returns to the scene of the crime. So if she shows up, it clears her name.
Absolutely. Oh my God, we should be detectives.
Well, the real reason they've chosen this house is because their dad recently did a construction job there and she can use the house as long as they clamp after the party.
I don't think that's legal in any way.
No, it's definitely not. But I think in the 90s, people tended to look the other way on such things. I don't think today they do.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
And it's probably because of books like this that they don't look the other way.
Also, there's no adult supervision. In the Fear Street Woods, there should always be some adult supervision. I mean, the amount of things that have happened in those woods, why does any parent let their teenagers go in there?
Oh yeah,
by themselves. I wouldn't. I'd be the awful dad that's like, sorry, you're not allowed. So Meg thinks about the day Evan died. Cousin Brian was in Fear Street Woods and he heard a gunshot. He saw Evan dead on the ground and Ellen was next to him. Ellen said Evan was dared to spend the night by an unknown person, and Evan brought his dad's rifle for protection. So Ellen went to Fear Street Woods to check on Evan, and she heard the gunshot. When she found him, he was already dead. She assumed he tripped and shot himself on accident, and then Brian showed up. Very straightforward. I'm sure that's all 100% true.
Yeah. Yes, because I know if someone I didn't know dared me to spend the night in the woods, the first thing I would do is, yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but if it was a haunted woods with ghosts, you might say yes.
I might bring some like Dell rods and stuff if I could make contact.
Yeah. I'm sure you could also protect yourself though. So
against a ghost? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
So Still in government class, apparently. It's a very long class.
It is.
Meg is told she has a message at the principal's office. On her way there, she sees Lisa in the hallway, and Lisa tells her that Gary and Krista broke up, but Meg can't talk because she has to get to the principal's office. I mean, priorities, girl.
I know.
Right? I need more of this hot goss. Once there, the secretary tells her she doesn't have any messages, so she goes back to government class.
Mm-hmm. How long were your high school periods for?
I want to say like 50 minutes.
Mine were 50 minutes as well. Yeah, and then we had 4 minutes in the hallway.
Okay, I think we only had like 2 or 3, but our school was small, so
okay.
Yeah. So then she sees Lisa again in the hallway and asks Lisa if she wants to help with the invitations. Doesn't even follow up on the gossip.
No.
But Lisa's doing work for the school newspaper. Lisa does want to help with the party, though. Feels like an excuse that she doesn't really want to. Oh, I've got the newspaper that night. I can't help.
Yeah.
But I really want to. I'm sorry. So back in government class, which is still going on, Meg sees the invitation that she left on the desk has been cut into tiny pieces. I think it's just somebody trying to help with the party getting confetti ready.
Confetti.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Confetti ready.
I don't know why that doesn't cross her mind.
So was it her plan to fill out these invitations during government class?
Yeah.
So in 1989, we are dealing with the people who are now of age to be in Congress now. Like they are the politicians that we are dealing with right now. And she is skipping government class. And if she is a representative of Shadyside or Ohio or anywhere, I really want her to know her government.
Yes. However, I think a lot of the people in Congress right now are the people that skipped government class, apparently. So also, if they were coming of age in 89, they're probably still the junior members of Congress, I would think. Not the same. There's not a lot of them. It's mostly older people. So
okay.
Thankfully, we're getting rid of those woke government classes, and we're going to teach them real American history now.
All right.
I mean, we're always perfect. It's 3 days later. Government class is still going on. No, we're still never. Meg thinks it was Shannon that cut up the invitation, but Shannon was getting a book from the library when Meg was gone. Great excuse. Meg remembers the creepy phone calls and then is told she needs to go to the principal's office again because she has another message. And don't worry, government class will still be going on when you get back. She gets to the office and now there's an envelope waiting for her that says, Meg, I'm watching you. Get back to government class and don't have the party. I don't want to hurt you, but I will.
So we're in chapter 4. It's still Monday afternoon, but a tiny bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Meg sees Shannon in the hallway and wants to tell her about the threatening note, but Shannon is on her way to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get that 6-month checkup.
Right. Not after school.
Meg sees Dwayne Colligan, a tall bodybuilder whom she doesn't like because he hangs out with her cousin Brian. I think they play that Wizards and Dungeons game together in the Fear Street Woods. So Meg then sees Tony, who also had a menacing note left in his locker, which said, don't let the party take place or you'll be dead meat too. Signed, a friend.
That's how I talk to my friends.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, me too.
Threaten them.
So Tony wants to call off the party, but Meg thinks that would be letting the creep win. I kind of see your point.
I do too. You never want to allow the fear to win out, right?
Yeah.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, not psycho killers.
That and how long government class is going
right?
to take. So Meg wonders if Shannon also got a note, and she tells Tony that the invitations were cut up. Tony thinks that Shannon did it, but Megan doesn't believe Shannon would do something like that. Meg sees Brian staring at her and Tony, and then Brian runs away.
What's he got to hide?
I don't know. Why is he staring at his cousin and her boyfriend talking?
I cannot answer that. Maybe if I'd paid more attention in government class, I would know. But
government class or chapter 5?
Well, chapter 5 we get to Monday night.
Okay.
Government class is finally over. But instead of writing her psych paper, Meg is in her room coming up with a list of suspects. I feel like the psych paper would help her identify which suspect is most likely, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Meg's suspect list consists of 3 people. So suspect number 1 is Brian.
Gotcha.
And she says her reasons for Brian, because he was staring at Tony and her so strangely.
Mm-hmm.
Little sus there.
Sure.
Because he ran away when he saw that they saw him.
Mm-hmm.
The next suspect is Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
And those reasons, because Evan was her brother, maybe she blames Ellen for what happened. Shannon was in study hall when the invitations were torn up. But I thought it happened in government class.
It did.
It did happen in government
It did happen in government class.
Okay.
And Shannon said she'd gone to the library anyway.
Yeah. Shannon wasn't enthusiastic about the party from the start, and Shannon's been different ever since Evan died.
They've all been different.
They've all been
Pretty
different.
sure, except for Meg, apparently.
And suspect number 3 is Ellen. And her reasons are because someone from school could have called her and told her about the party.
Mhm.
Logical. Because Ellen never liked parties. She never called or wrote to any of her old friends. Maybe she doesn't want to see everyone. And lastly, she never explained why her family moved away from Shadyside so suddenly.
I mean, that is suspicious. But then she's coming back. Again, killers don't return to the scene of the crime, so that should clear her, right?
I'm going to revoke your detective license.
Why?
Because the killers always go back to the scene of the crime.
What? So Tony calls her and tells her that someone was following him home, but he didn't see who it was. Again, he wants to call off the party, but she refuses. Tony tells her he is out of the party and out of the relationship.
Oh, dang.
Right? Big loss. Well, so Meg hangs up on Tony because
That's just what you do.
Well, yeah, if you break up with her by phone, you deserve to be hung up on, I think.
Yeah.
So she calls Ellen. It's a long distance call, so Meg has to make it quick because back then we used to pay for long distance.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. 25 cents a minute, something like that.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. And so they chat about school for a few minutes, and Meg invites Ellen to hang out as a cover for the surprise party because very clever. She's a very clever girl.
Yeah.
Ellen agrees and seems pretty happy with the invite. After the call, Meg goes back to the suspect list and starts to cross off Ellen as suspect number 3, but then thinks she was too cheerful on the phone, like it was forced. So she is back on the suspect list.
So in chapter 6, we are now Wednesday night. We have completely skipped all of Tuesday.
Right.
All of Wednesday at school.
Mm-hmm.
Meg is over Lisa's house, and Lisa is complaining about Corey. Go figure. Lisa and Meg then talk about Ellen's surprise party. Meg tells Lisa that someone is going to great lengths to cancel the party, and that's why she and Tony broke up. Lisa and Meg wonder if someone didn't like Evan, and Meg tells Lisa about the suspect list. Lisa points out that Meg's cousin, her best friend, and her boyfriend are all on the list, and suggests Meg talk to Shannon about her suspicions. Meg heads home, and when she gets home, she thinks she sees a shadow on the porch.
Where we will suddenly abruptly end with one of those classic cliffhangers. So chapter 7 begins on Wednesday night, and it was just a tall stack of flower plots. It takes an entire page for us to find that out. But then we skip, still in chapter 7, to Thursday afternoon. And at lunch, Meg asks Shannon if she called and threatened her and tore up the invites, and Shannon gets defensive and storms off, which is what a guilty person would do and what an innocent person would do. So
it doesn't give you're hurt.
Right? Your best friend accuses you of truly horrible things.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So Meg goes to finish her lunch. She buys and brings her own lunch because she never knows if she's going to like the food, which, school, maybe I went to the wrong school, but our school lunches were fine. Yeah. I don't know why everybody complains.
Yeah, I like our school lunch.
Right? Anyway.
It's
they're
just
too picky. Yeah. But inside her brown bag lunch, and this is why you should always buy, because it was blood. You never get blood when you buy a school lunch.
Right.
I mean, I've bought hundreds of them, and never once have I been served blood. Have you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I rest my case.
So now we're on to chapter 8. It's Thursday night, and we find out that the blood in Meg's lunch bag was actually just red paint.
Same. I mean, I always mix up red paint with blood, too.
I do too.
I think I have a bunch of cans of blood in my back basement, but they might just be red paint.
We'll investigate later.
Okay.
We'll find out. So Meg decides to walk to Shannon's house, which is 10 blocks away, because she wants to apologize. At Shannon's, Meg sees a portrait of Evan, who we know is Shannon's brother.
If he wasn't, it would be really weird. The portrait of him.
He's dressed all nice and looks nothing like the wild boy that he was. Meg remembers the night that she, Shannon, Tony, Ellen, and Evan were in Shannon's basement playing pool, and Tony and Evan began to roughhouse. It got a little too serious, and Evan cracked the pool stick over Tony's head, and Tony had to get stitches.
These girls surely know how to pick their boys.
I know. It's just amazing. Meg apologizes to Shannon, and Shannon forgives her. Shannon says that she'll help with the party, but they must invite her half-brother, Mike. We're going to talk about Mike a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Mike is said to be a few years younger than Meg and Shannon. Shannon's dad remarried and a few years later had Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So let's assume that Meg and Shannon are 16, 17 at most. A few years, we'll be generous and say 2 to 3 years.
Oh, at least 3 if it's a few.
3, okay.
At least.
So that makes Mike 12 to 14 years old.
If he's entered puberty, it's barely.
Yeah, barely. So Mike is 12 to 14 years old. And Meg thinks Mike is cute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we already know she has terrible taste in it.
That's
her friend group have terrible taste in it.
That's true.
So
Shannon suggests the stalker might not be someone who hates Ellen, but someone who hates Meg. So they're going after Meg. Meg heads home.
I kind of hate her at this point, so.
Yeah, that's true. Meg heads home in the rain and is almost hit by a car, and the car seems to have purposely driven toward her.
Now I'm seeing these names together, like Meg, Brian. Now I'm thinking Family Guy ripped off this book.
Oh, yeah, with all those names?
Yeah. I'm waiting for Peter in the next chapter. Chapter 9, we are at later Thursday night. The chapter shifts to the driver's POV, assumingly the person stalking Meg and the person who killed Evan, because there's definitely not 2 bad people in Fear Street. He mentions, the driver mentions that he is cousins with Mark. The driver only meant to scare Meg and is happy she jumped out of the way. He doesn't want the party to happen because he doesn't want Ellen to tell people what she knows. But then we don't find out what she knows because we shift back to Meg. And I'm like, why? I want to stay with this guy. He's already more interesting than Meg.
That's true. Is he dating someone toxic? Probably.
So we shift back to Meg, who's home now and wants to take a hot shower, which is a very long and graphic scene. I don't know why R.L. Stine included that in a teenage book, but whatever.
He did not.
No. She's shaken up, but okay. She calls Tony, but he isn't home. Meg worries that he's on a date because they are broken up. So he's probably out with the copy girl because they were on a break.
They were on a break.
We shift to Tony and he's out with the copy girl. No, he's walking around and he sees Dwayne shooting hoops in the driveway. Tony joins him and Dwayne tells Tony that Evan didn't like him and forbade him from pursuing Shannon. Dwayne said he was relieved that Evan died because then he could pursue Shannon once again. But Tony gets mad at Dwayne and runs home.
So we're in chapter 10. It's Friday night now. And Meg is working on her overdue psych paper, but decides to go to Tony's house.
Well, it's only 3 days overdue. So
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Friday night, so it's not like she's going to turn it in on Saturday.
No.
She's got till Monday.
At least.
She gets to Tony's house, and Tony's dad tells her that he isn't home. He's playing Wizards and Dungeons with Brian, and Meg assumes they are in Fear Street Woods. Meg goes home, and then at around 1 a.m., she gets a call from Tony's dad. Tony and Brian aren't back yet, and Tony's dad is going to call the police.
And then the sheriff finds them in the Upside Down, where they've been taken by the Demogorgon.
Okay.
No, we're at Friday night. Friday after midnight, which would be Saturday morning, even though it says Friday. I know. R.L. Stine, come on. So Meg decides to go to Fear Street alone to look for Brian and Tony. Meg's dad wakes up and tells her that he will go with her because we finally get a parent being responsible.
Right.
So Brian and Tony's parents are at the Fear Street Woods, and all 6 of them head to a cave where Brian likes to Wizards and Dungeons. Meg gets sidetracked and breaks up from the group, ultimately getting lost. If I were her dad, I'm stuck to her in the middle of the night in the Fear Street Woods. So I guess I spoke too soon saying he was responsible. So Meg's calling for Tony and her dad, but then she feels someone gently grab her shoulder. I'm glad they're gentle. I'm glad it's a gentleman.
Chapter 12, it's still Friday night after midnight, a.k.a.
Saturday morning.
She describes a person smelling of onions has grabbed her and tells her, I warned you, don't have the party. Meg can't see who it is and twists out of their grip, but she falls down the ravine. She lands hard and gets knocked out. When she comes to, she's next to a bloody and unconscious Brian. Tony comes down from the top of the ravine and tells Meg that Brian fell, and he went to go find help, but he also got lost in the woods. So the police and the parents find Tony, Meg, and Brian, and Tony tells the police the same story, that he went to go get help but got lost. Meg questions Tony's interest in wanting to play Wizards and Dungeons, especially with Brian, and Tony says he wanted to try it out, but Brian got all serious and weird.
Which is really unusual because Dungeons and Dragons players usually are never serious and weird. So
that's very fair. Meg tells Tony about her attacker wanting her to call the party off, but she tells Tony she's still going to have the party. Tony gets upset because it's clearly dangerous to move forward with the party.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Tony is starting to see the danger in having this party.
Right. But of course, in a book like this, they're going to have to push forward.
They have to.
Yeah. So it's chapter 13. It's now Sunday afternoon.
Totally skip Saturday.
I mean, it actually says at the top Saturday after midnight, but afternoon the next day, which was a really lengthy way to describe Sunday afternoon, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Megan visits Brian at home. The hospital released him, but cautioned that Brian might have internal injuries. Corey Brooks and David Metcalf are leaving Brian's house as Meg arrives. Corey's late picking up Lisa, surprise, surprise, and asks Meg about the lunch bag filled with blood. I'd forgotten all about it. Yeah. And so had she, strangely enough.
Yeah.
Meg visits Brian in his room. Brian is broken and bruised. He starts talking about Wizards and Dungeons, but it's all gibberish that Meg doesn't understand. Then Brian confesses he's the one that called Meg. But he's in the hospital, so he can't be still threatening. I don't know. There's something that doesn't quite add up there.
Well, he's not in the hospital. The hospital released him with internal injuries.
Right.
So he's just bleeding from the liver.
Sure.
And home.
Well, back in the 90s, we didn't have fancy healthcare. So that's what they did.
That's true. Because our healthcare is so much better now. So now we're on to chapter 14. It's still Sunday afternoon. Brian continues talking gibberish again and says that he called Meg several times to warn her, but hung up before she answered. So it seems like it's not the actual phone calls that she was receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Meg tries to get more information from Brian, but he just tells her that Fear Street Woods is dangerous. Meg leaves and sees Ellen in the driveway. So this is the first time that we've actually seen Ellen now.
So she's not a ghost.
She's not a ghost. Ellen just got to town and heard about Brian, so she decided to come over and check on him. Meg and Ellen make small talk and plan to hang out at Aunt Amy's house with Shannon, I think the next day on Monday or sometime that week.
Yeah.
I forget what day it is. Meg goes home and calls Tony. She tells him that Brian told her what happened in the woods, and Tony demands that they meet and talk. Meg has to write her psych paper, so she declines. So Tony asks to meet at David's party and walk to River's Ridge, also known as Lover's Leap, so they can talk privately. Meg doesn't think it's safe, and Tony assures her, I'll take care of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will. In more ways than one. So we get to chapter 15, still Sunday afternoon, but we're shifting to Tony's point of view and find out that Tony's the one that beat up Brian in the woods.
Oh, dang. Didn't see that coming.
He wanted to remind Brian not to tell anyone that Tony actually killed Evan. Dun, dun, dun! Reveal. It sounds like it was an accident because there was a struggle over the rifle, but we don't know what the struggle was about. So we have to keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
Tony goes back and forth on whether he's going to kill Meg or not, because winning boyfriend.
At this point, if you were Tony, wouldn't you be like, oh, Meg seemed rather cool and calm talking to me, not like she knows I killed anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you just assume that she doesn't know the full story?
I would hope so, but psychos be psychoing.
That's true.
If he does kill her, Tony thinks it will be a warning to Ellen and Brian to keep quiet. Ultimately, Tony decides, yeah, I will kill Meg by pushing her over the cliff at River's Ridge.
So now we're on to chapter 16. It's Monday afternoon, and Meg and Shannon go to visit Ellen at her Aunt Amy's house. It's mostly awkward conversation, going down memory lane. They reminisce about a game they used to play called Eek a Mouse that was basically screaming louder than the next person.
It sounds like so much fun. You want to play that at our next party?
I don't want to. I am not a screamer at all.
I mean, it sounds like a really interesting game that would keep you engrossed for hours.
I'm an awful final girl because I can't scream, at all.
I could probably scream, but I just think it sounds like the dumbest game ever. Maybe a 4-year-old would enjoy it, but other than that, I don't. Although, I don't know. Kids are goofy, and they're still kids.
It seems like while the three of them are talking, no one wants to talk about the elephant in the room. which is, hey, Ellen, how are you and Evan doing?
Mm.
Suki Thomas is briefly mentioned, and they basically say that she's a floozy who will sleep with anyone. So before Meg and Shannon leave, Meg reminds Ellen about their pizza plans for next Saturday, but that's just the cover story for the surprise party. Meg realizes the surprise party is going to be a disaster since Ellen clearly has nothing to talk about. Meg wants to cancel, but Shannon tells her no. And then Meg remembers she is going to see Tony at David's party tonight, and it's hopeful Tony will shed some light on Brian's behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So she isn't willing to call off the party because of all the threatening notes and almost getting hit by a car, but she is willing to call off the party because it doesn't seem like Ellen's going to have a great time.
Yeah, which I think they predicted from the beginning Ellen would not have a great time. So this isn't new information.
No.
But, and also there's another party that we're dealing with. We've got David's party.
Yeah, I feel like
on a Monday night.
Parties.
Well, no, David's is on a Monday night apparently.
Well, how many parties are you going to have in a week?
Well, if one's Monday, one's Friday.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was kind of a loser in high school, so I didn't get invited to parties.
Oh no, me neither. But I mean, it maybe an occasional one where like the whole class got invited, but
not even then.
I certainly was not at one of these like no parent parties.
Mm-hmm.
So chapter 17, at David's party now, Meg and Shannon say hi to a few old friends. Dwayne is there harassing Shannon, telling her she should dance with him because he's a nice guy. That's what nice guys usually do. It's just how nice they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a red flag at all.
No. Is there a decent guy in this book?
In the whole series?
Okay. Because good point. So Tony shows up and he and Meg drive to Rivers Ridge. Once at Rivers Ridge, Meg acts all casually and Tony guides her to the edge of the cliff and throws her off the end.
Mm-hmm. The end.
The end.
And he goes to government class.
The government class isn't over yet. They're sneaking out of government class to go to Rivers Ridge.
Okay. So we're on to chapter 18. It's still Monday night, and Tony and Meg are at the edge of the cliff. And Tony decides to hear what Megan knows before he pushes her off the cliff. I think
kind of him.
Yeah, that's I think the only good idea he's had so far. Meg tells him she thinks it's Brian and someone else trying to stop the party, but she doesn't know who. She asks Tony if he's involved, and Tony says no. She then tells Tony that Ellen went to visit Brian, and Tony panics. Tony decides to let the surprise party happen so he can keep an eye on Brian and Ellen. Tony remembers that his dad has a gun in his workbench, and Tony can use that to kill Brian and Ellen if need be. Tony and Meg kiss, but he's thinking about the gun.
I mean, when I kiss a girl, I'm usually thinking about a gun too. It's just a pretty common thing.
I wonder, is that is that a bigger insult, thinking about a gun, than thinking about another girl?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I really have no interest in guns, so I'm having a hard time putting myself in that mindset. But
I would only be okay with it if my name was Janie and he was thinking about a gun.
The gun that Janie has?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in chapter 19. We're now all the way to Saturday night, so we've skipped all week. Mm-hmm. Went from the Monday night party to the Saturday night party. Does not say how many hours they were in government class in this week, but I think we can assume it was pretty much the entire week. So chapter 19, Meg picks up Ellen to go to the party. She tells Ellen they're picking up Shannon at the Halsey Manor, and they drag down Fear Street Woods and past the woods. So they get to Halsey Manor, and Ellen walks inside, and surprise! Ellen doesn't seem happy.
No, not at all. So chapter 20, it's still Saturday night. Everyone seems to be having a good time at the party, even Ellen.
But she wasn't happy.
She wasn't happy, but now she is happy. I have a feeling some alcohol might be involved.
Because they're teenagers. They're not 21.
Well, they're at Halsey Manor all by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Stine would surely never write teenagers drinking underage.
That is true. Suki Thomas is there with Dwayne, who is looking for Shannon. So a nice guy who's on a date with a different girl and asking about Shannon.
Of course.
Tony is there wearing his gray leather jacket. He won't take off his leather jacket because he has his dad's gun in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Brian enters the party and starts talking Wizards and Dungeons jargon again. He tells everyone that he's at a level 4 wizard and is going to bring Evan back from the dead. Brian points to the door and Evan walks into the room.
I mean, now I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons. if that's the power you get from it. I do, now that we're at this part, I do want to, we just had a doppelganger sibling in the last book. Mm-hmm. We're only 2 books into the series. We've already had 2 doppelganger siblings. Does he just not have very many ideas? By book 2, was he already running out of ideas?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if book 3 repeats any major ideas. I hope like nobody falls down a ravine or anything in book 3, because surely he's not going to keep repeating ideas. We'll have to wait and see, though. We're at chapter 21, Saturday night. Tony freaks out and pulls his gun out, fires into the ceiling, and tells everyone he knows why Evan is back, because Evan wants Tony to tell everyone what happened. But it's not Evan who walked in the room. It's 12 or 14-year-old Mike, who just so happens to look exactly like his half-brother. Mm-hmm. What I emphasize, he's only a half-brother, mm-hmm. Evan. Meg deduces that Brian and Mike came up with the plan to get Tony to confess. Tony has the gun pointed at Mike, and then the lights go out. A gunshot's heard in the darkness, lights come back on, Tony's on the floor. Dwayne grabbed Tony's gun and shot Tony, grazing his arm, shoulder area. Tony's on the floor, possibly bleeding out. Dwayne points the gun at Meg, and she figures that Dwayne planned to kill Tony and sneak away while the lights were out. So Dwayne takes Ellen hostage and tells everyone that Ellen killed Evan too, and if anyone follows him, he's going to kill Ellen. Very innocent man. Mm-hmm. Meg tries to get the gun from Dwayne, but he takes her hostage too. He leaves with Ellen and Meg, and they go to the basement to hide while everyone looks for them in the woods. That actually was kind of smart. Because, of course...
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that one.
The basement is a decrepit kitchen with cobwebs and copper pans hanging on the walls. Meg asks why Dwayne shot Tony, and Dwayne says he doesn't want Tony telling everyone that Dwayne killed Evan. I didn't kill Evan, but I don't want Tony telling everybody I did, so I'm going to shoot him. Mm-hmm. Because I'm innocent. I'm very innocent.
But for some reason, Tony's going to tell everybody that I did it.
Right. And now I've also shot somebody else and taken 2 women hostage, girls, they're teenagers, mm-hmm. 2 girls hostage because I'm innocent.
He's also a nice guy.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Shannon gone out with him yet?
I don't know.
Right?
Something's wrong with her.
Something's wrong.
So now we're at chapter 22. It's still Saturday night.
I'd hope so. If you're suddenly skipping away from this action, I don't know what you're doing.
Ellen says Tony killed Evan because she saw Tony do it.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen tells Meg that she and Tony were dating behind Meg and Evan's back. And when she told Evan why she wanted to break up with him, Evan went nuts and stormed into Fear Street Woods with his dad's rifle. Evan just wanted to shoot something in order to blow off some steam. Ellen and Tony followed Evan into the woods, and Evan and Tony fought over the gun. It went off, and Evan was killed. Brian was in the woods playing Wizard and Dungeons, and Brian went to see the commotion. Tony told Brian and Ellen he was going to make it look like an accident, and he would kill Brian and Ellen if they told anyone. And so this is when Tony then picks up the story and tells them that actually Brian and Dwayne were in the woods playing Wizards and Dungeons, and Brian went to see what the commotion was when they heard the gunshot. Dwayne went home because he didn't want to be a part of it. When Ellen and Brian went for help, Dwayne, who really didn't go home, went to check on Evan. Dwayne saw that Evan wasn't dead. In fact, he hadn't been shot at all. Evan was unconscious from hitting his head on a rock. Dwayne then killed Evan so Evan wouldn't get in the way of Dwayne dating Shannon. Meg whispers to Ellen about eek a mouse, and Ellen screams as a distraction for Dwayne. Meg gets a copper pot from the wall and hits Dwayne in the head. He loses a few teeth and falls on his back. He's bleeding from his head wound, but we don't know if he's dead or unconscious.
I really want to know how the circumstances are that they miss Evan entirely with the gunshot, and he falls on his head somehow, and they all think he's dead. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how that sequence of events makes any sense. When they don't see gunshot, they don't see like
nothing.
Yeah. He's just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, he must be dead. I'm not going to check his pulse.
No. Okay.
So we're at chapter 23, Sunday afternoon. It's the morning after the party. Meg's in Shannon's room with Mike and Shannon, and Meg tells Shannon that Tony's the one who tried to stop the party. I guess that's why Tony kept like, oh yeah, I got those threatening letters too. Oh, I got that too, because it was, yeah.
And it makes sense why Tony's phone was busy.
Because he was
right
calling.
after Meg got her first call.
Right. Shannon and Meg are helping Mike pack for military school. He's a very young man to be going to military school, I think.
Yeah.
And Meg tells them that Ellen went back home earlier that morning. She also adds that Tony's going to see a psychiatrist in New York. Presumably, the psychiatrist has actually written a psych paper, I would assume. Mike tells Meg that he'll be back in July and asks if she wants to go out on a date. As a reminder, we assume, is between the ages of 12 and 14, and she is 16 to 17. So she says yes, but only under one condition.
What's that?
Well, it should be, you're not going to kill me after a story like this, but it's actually no parties.
It should be, let's wait until you're 17 or 18, young man.
I mean, that too, but I'm just assuming she's going to go. But should there be any condition? I mean, the no killing me, I think, would be a big... So that's going to be book 7 or 8. I don't know.
Something.
We'll see.
My criminology degree is making me ask, why was Ellen allowed to leave Shadyside? I don't know if she left Ohio completely, because I don't know where she lives now. Why was she able to leave during an open investigation into either Dwayne's homicide or assault or whatever? Why was she allowed to leave?
That's a good point.
And why is there only one psychiatrist that is in New York for Tony to see? Does Shadyside not have any counselors?
I mean, if Meg would ever finish her psych paper, maybe she could be a counselor. But yeah, no, I guess not.
Yeah. And that brings me to point 3. Did Meg ever finish her psych paper?
It's not clear. Presumably, we'll find out once they actually finish government class, because that was still happening during the party. They were still in government class during the party.
So what do you think happened to Dwayne? Is he dead? Is he knocked out?
I mean, I guess I assume he's in jail.
Okay. I mean, he's going to have a trial, right?
I don't know. Well, I guess back then they used to have a justice system with trials, didn't they?
That's
okay.
True. Due process.
It's not 2025. We're back in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
This book does not do a good job tying up those loose ends.
No, not at all. So let's talk about Halsey Manor and the condition that it was left in.
Okay.
Due to the party. I assume, or remember, the only condition for having the party was that she had to clean up afterward. Now we have bullet holes. We have blood stains. I assume party favors are just strewn about.
Probably.
What happened with Meg's dad and his construction company?
Oh, he was definitely fired. He lost his license, and then he became destitute, and Meg lived on the street.
What does 6.5-year-old Olivia James give this book?
Oh, I would have never read a 6.5. This is the problem we're going to keep running into until we get dozens of books in.
Okay.
Probably.
So we'll do, since I was 10, we'll do.
Like 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I still don't think it would have quite been the Fear Street yet, but I'd be close to it, I think. I think I would have probably enjoyed it because hints about like going up to the place where that's the makeout part. There's a party unsupervised. Like there are lots of little things that sound fun to a kid that doesn't know any better. That's a dumb kid. How about 10-year-old Michelle?
10-year-old me would have probably given this a C+.
Okay.
I would say somewhere around there.
Okay.
So what does adult Olivia James rate this book?
I mean, I did not like it as much as the first one, for sure. It was definitely a step down. The logic just wasn't making sense. If we're giving it letter grades, probably in the D, maybe D+.
Okay. I, as an adult, give it a D- for all the reasons that you listed. It doesn't hit. It doesn't make sense. There was just, I feel like, just no thought put into it. It was one of those, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Well, you and I have discussed this earlier, but I want to make it official. So when I originally started this podcast, I was just going to have a guest for each book. But you and I have decided that it would be fun if you read all the books and talked about them with me. So I have a very important question to ask you.
Sure.
Olivia James, will you walk down Fear Street with me?
Oh, I didn't expect this. I'm so choked up. I mean, yes, obviously. Obviously, yes. A million times, yes. Yeah. Thank you. I am happy to be included. I was going to read along anyway.
Okay, great. So I will see you for book 3 through 51.
Nice.
All right.
There's 51 books?
There's 51.
Oh, never mind. I'm busy.
I'm washing my hair that night.
Well, I got government class.